So this is what Eddie Murphy does when he's not donkey. Kind of. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Alright, I'll admit, originally I was not planning on watching this movie at all, because up until about a week ago, I had not seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies. Why, you may ask? Because the last one came out before I was born. Yeah, it has been literally my entire life since the last Beverly Hills Cop movie. But over the course of this past week, I watched the trilogy. And in a nutshell, the first one was great, the second one, good but not as good, and the third one, that was some bullshit. Man, that was bad. And so now, 30 years later, we finally have a fourth Beverly Hills Cop movie on Netflix. Once again starring Eddie Murphy as Detective Axel Foley, still living in Detroit, but once again, he has to come out to bougie Beverly Hills. This time it's because his estranged daughter lives out there. She's a lawyer and she's gotten into a bit of trouble with Kevin Bacon because Kevin Bacon is just a bad man. And so now we gotta get the band back together, along with a couple of new faces, and we gotta take down Kevin Bacon. And here we go with more Beverly Hills Cop shenanigans. Now, like I said, I'm new to the whole Beverly Hills Cop scene, but I got the gist of it. The first one came out in 1984. Eddie Murphy was in his prime. He's coming out fresh off of SNL in 48 Hours. And so these Beverly Hills Cop movies were vessels pretty much for Eddie Murphy to do his thing. They were the Eddie Murphy show. And Axel Foley, yeah, he's an Eddie Murphy character at his best. What people love about Axel Foley is that he will talk and he will bullshit somebody to get his way. It was hilarious in the first movie, man. And in the subsequent movies, 2, even 3, and in this one. 30 years later, Eddie Murphy has not lost it. He slips right back into that role. After 3 decades, that is impressive. And yeah, that is me saying that Eddie Murphy is still great as Axel Foley. Cause he is. I thought he was awesome in this movie. He has some pretty funny moments here.
You know, part of me rather get locked up than get put in this little Fisher-Price looking squad car. Y'all are the Lego cops.
Not all of his funny moments landed with me, I'll be honest with you, but most of them did. And then there's his daughter, Jane Saunders, who you kind of think, alright, is that his kid with the chick from the third movie? You don't know because this movie never really answers. Her mother is never in this movie at all, so you just don't know. But she's Axel's estranged daughter who wants nothing to do with her father, and throughout most of the movie you're like, what is her beef with him? She really does have an axe to grind with him. They make that abundantly clear with her dialogue. He's trying to get through to her. It's a formula you've seen in a million other movies before, but I'll say it does work here. I thought their chemistry was pretty good, all things considered. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in this movie. He plays a cop in the BHPD. He's got a good amount of screen time, and I liked his character. I wouldn't say he made that character. I wouldn't be like, oh my god, only JGL could play that role in this movie. He could have been played by anybody, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a good job, and he also has really good chemistry with Eddie Murphy. And of course, this being a Beverly Hills Cop movie, you gotta bring back some older faces, because it's not a Beverly Hills Cop movie without Billy Rosewood. And they also bring back Taggart, who was not in the third movie. So yeah, we have Foley, Rosewood, and Taggart back together after over 30 years. And yeah, it's like seeing the band back together for a big reunion show, you know? With everything that implies. It is actually a pretty good metaphor. I can't take credit for it because Double Toasted used that in their review. I love watching those guys. But it's so good that I'm gonna use it. It's like, imagine a band that's been on hiatus for 30 years, they come back together for a big reunion show, and you look at them and you're like, wow, they got old. And yeah, it's true, like you see these old farts going around doing their coppish thing, you would think they'd get some younger faces on the case, realistically. I mean, realism is out the window in this movie. The big action scenes are a testament to that. I'll get to that later. But seeing these characters that have been away for 30 years coming back together, they still got it, I will say. Again, they all slid right back into their characters. Their dialogue is really funny, and it actually works. And Kevin Bacon as the villain is Kevin Bacon. It's like at this point, Kevin Bacon's been a villain in so many movies. He's kind of like a more charismatic Mads Mikkelsen. And again, it works. Are you kidding me? I love Kevin Bacon. I love seeing him in villainous roles because he just has so much fun with it. And he works for a Beverly Hills Cop movie. But that being said, he doesn't really stand out among all the characters in this movie. Because really the forefront here is Axel Foley and his daughter, Jane Saunders. Yeah, this movie is more about the daddy issues than anything else. It's a father-daughter bonding movie, which again, you've seen a million times before, and now it's been brought over to Beverly Hills Cop. It's a safe formula and it works. It's just not original at all. Granted, you know, you're not expecting this movie to be as good as the first one. I'm pretty sure nobody is, but I'd say it's about as good as the second one. So I would say the deciding factor on how much you'll like this movie is how much you like the second one. If you love the first movie but hate the second and third movie, I mean, the third movie goes without saying because everyone hates the third one. So if you hate the second one, you'll probably hate this one. I don't know. But if you like the second one, then I'd say give this one a shot because you'll probably like it. Again, I don't know. I can't place myself into your mind, but that's just my assumption. If you haven't seen any of the Beverly Hills Cop movies, I'd say give them a watch. The whole trilogy's on Paramount Plus. Check it out. Or maybe just watch 1 and 2, and then watch this new one on Netflix, cause it's not half bad. The action scenes are crazy, oh my god. And really, they have been since the second one. The first movie didn't really have any crazy action scenes. From 2 on, they've been crazy. And this 4th movie is no exception to that. You got a helicopter that's flying low to the street. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen. A big truck that plows into a mansion. So yeah, like I said, this movie throws realism out the window. That's one thing the first movie has over all of the rest. It's just a little more grounded, but they are fun to watch in this movie. And Eddie Murphy's cracking his wisecracks like he does, because again, he hasn't lost it.
I didn't realize that you couldn't really fly a helicopter. Otherwise, I would have came up with a different idea. I told you it was a bad idea.
And you're just thoroughly entertained. And you want to talk about some throwbacks? Let's talk about some music. Because here's a true story. You know, the Beverly Hills Cop theme, you know it. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. This is a true story. The very first version I ever heard of that tune was the Crazy Frog version. Dun, 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 dun. I went my entire life thinking that that song came from Crazy Frog. I had no idea until about a week ago that that was the Beverly Hills Cop theme. So hearing it consistently throughout the first movie, I was like, wait a minute, that's actually the theme from that movie? My whole life was a lie. And it's an awesome theme, dude. That's why they brought it back for 2, 3, and now 4. Cause yeah, the score in this movie, Lorne Balfe took over. He's great. And it is that same 80s synth that rocked the trilogy, which is awesome. They haven't lost what Beverly Hills Cop is supposed to feel like. It takes you right back if you're nostalgic. I love the score in this movie, dude. Because as soon as an action scene starts, that synthy score kicks on, which is how Beverly Hills Cop movies are. It's great. And that's the kind of nostalgia that works in movies like this. All my props to Lorne Balfe for scoring this movie, and to Harold Faltermeyer for his original theme. That being said, there are also remixes in this new movie, which in a way I do get, because you know, it's updating it for this generation. Just for me personally, that doesn't work as well as the original themes, because they're just better. But in the end, Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is a good return to form for the Beverly Hills Cop movies. Eddie Murphy's still got it. You see the band back together, and they still got it, even though they are 30 years older, and it really does show for a couple of faces here. Just saying. I mean, that being said, I'm probably gonna look like that when I'm 60, so who am I to judge? This movie's got fun, crazy, ridiculous action. It's got funny dialogue, but it is cliche in its premise. I'd say this movie is nothing you haven't seen before, but it's still worth watching, especially if you're a fan of the original movies. Even if you just watch it once and then never watch it again, because that'll probably be the case for me. Although I'll probably be listening to that soundtrack for a while. And by that soundtrack, I mean the first movie soundtrack. So, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Have you watched it yet? What are your thoughts on it? And what are your thoughts on the Beverly Hills Cop series as a whole? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace!